Connor, are we recording?
I think so.
Connor, are you recording?
I think so.
I think I'm recording.
Here's the now we can actually say that because our setup's a lot more complicated.
Yeah. Welcome back to, it's no longer spring break. I decided the title of the series now is The X-Pedition Continues. Today we are talking about, X-Men Apocalypse from the year of our Lord, Connor.
2015.
16.
2016, shit.
This-
I thought about grabbing my Blu-ray too. I was thinking about that.
This was the year that superheroes didn't get along. Because it was Batman vs. Superman, Civil War, this.
An Apocalypse.
Yeah. So, before we get into the movie, should we establish what happened? We kind of talked about it in our last couple of videos.
I mean, yeah, if you want to do a quick rundown for the folks at home.
Basically, as you're all aware, we're still in the midst of a global pandemic, on top of everything else. And we got kicked out of school, like, literally during our spring break, which is when Connor and I were filming these. So we left school. It is now the first week of June. We were recording these midway through March, so Connor and I took a break to focus on remote learning. So we put the X-Men to the side, and now we're in the middle of summer, and nothing is open. So here we are. We're resuming our marathon. Really, the tail end. We only got 3 more movies. It's kind of sad.
For when we do New Mutants Tale, it's like August.
Yeah.
Is that our holiday special, New Mutants?
Oh my god. Yeah, no, New Mutants is gonna be, that episode's gonna be very interesting.
That's a lost episode. The movie's never gonna come out.
It's cursed. It's utterly cursed. It's never gonna come out. So lots changed. I decided to take a few style tips from Caliban, personally. I feel like he had great ideas. I felt like he was the
now
most...
you do look like Caliban's father.
Yeah. I felt like he was the most stylish mutant of communist Berlin. So, yeah, a couple of things is that part of me was really happy to get a break from X-Men. Because we watched all of those movies in such short succession that it was really just like, I'm getting tired of X-Men. And then part of me feels like I'm now off my rhythm. And it's going to be, when we finally do our rankings, once we watch Dark Phoenix, it's going to be hard to rank these 3 amongst the rest.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts since our hiatus?
I mean, it's good to have a break, but I do agree with you a lot, especially because, like, I'll tell you right now, I gave this a 3.5, which, like, the second I gave it a rating, I was like, that's too high.
Yeah.
Looking back at, like, previous ones where it's 1, 3, Wolverine, and, well, both Wolverines so far, all 3s for me.
Yeah.
And just, like, mathematically, I can't say I like this more than any of those 4 by, like, a half-star amount, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I have to, like, I need to get back in the X-Men rhythm, because I think as I watched them all one by one after each other, it had more of, like, a context and appreciation for what came before. And now that we had the time split, I need to get my brain back in, like, X-Men mode again.
Yeah. I have a similar experience. I honestly don't know what score I'm supposed to do this. I told you this, but I'll give context for our audience. I did not watch this movie in one sitting, the way that... so essentially, when we were filming them, the first wave of episodes, Connor and I would watch the movie, we would, like, take a 10-minute break, and then immediately record the episode. There's some distance between our viewing this time because of our new setup. But for me, I started watching this on Wednesday night. Today's Friday. I started watching this on Wednesday night. Got halfway through, got to the point where Cerebro exploded. And then I'm like, I'm going to pass out. So I stopped it, and then I finished it last night. So even then, I now have like 24 hours. I have 48 hours of distance between when I started it, and now like 24 hours between when I finished it. So it's not going to be as choppy. I'm definitely going to have details lost. I'm glad that you took notes. I considered taking notes.
No, I mean, it's not the most ideal way to watch, to pause every, like, 5 minutes when I want to take a note down, but...
Yeah. You don't have to pause for every note. You could...
No, I don't know. I wanted to absorb the full motion picture.
Did you ever take notes in our screenings classes?
No. Well, here's the thing. I took notes for, like, a movie. And then I'd be like, this distracts me too much. I'm not getting the most I can out of the actual movie by taking notes on it. Plus, it was obviously dark in the room, so I couldn't see what the fuck I was writing.
It was much easier when it was movies with a lot of daylight.
Yeah.
Pauline Kael, legendary film critic, once gave it a terrible, like, a movie she hated, like a really scathing review. And she said the best part about this movie is that there's a lot of daylight, so it's the perfect movie to read by. Which is a great line. No, this is an ultimate tangent, but I'm going to do it anyway. Our first semester of freshman year, we had our screenings class. And I'm going to take notes for every movie we watch. And so the first week it was Memento. So I took like 2 pages of notes from Memento. And then the next week I took a page. And then the next week after that it was like half a page. And then by the 4th week it was like 2 notes. I'm like, I'm giving up on writing notes.
Yeah. See, I already had seen Memento. I was like, I know Memento. I'm not going to take notes.
Yeah.
Then I wrote, like, I think, like, 5 bullet points the next time, like, 0. And I was like, oh, I just don't take notes anymore. Yeah.
It's a good practice to have. I know people who take notes during movies, and it's, like, really helpful for them. So do you want to start? Do you want any general thoughts on the...
I mean, here's the thing. I did some math, which, if you know me, that's not what I do. But we were talking about Havoc's age in relation to Scott's age.
Yeah.
So I actually did some history math. I'm going to read out the notes I took.
All right. I love this.
This is verbatim what I wrote in my notes.
I love this.
Okay. So I did some math. Havoc is at least 39 years old. He was at least 18 in first class because he was in like a big boy prison.
Yeah.
And the Cuban Missile Crisis ended in 1962.
Yep.
This movie takes place in 1983. So that's 21 years later. So Scott is 17 based on his teacher's quote. He said you guys are about 7 at this time, 10 years previous. Yeah. So it's a 22-year-old age difference. Scott wasn't even born until 1966, which is 4 years after First Class. So it's a 22-year age gap between...
It's 2 years after First Class.
No, 62 was the Cuban Missile Crisis.
64.
He wasn't born until 66.
Oh, he was born in 66, yeah.
4 years after First Class.
Yeah.
So yeah, here's the thing. And Scott's parents, they look pretty good for their age. If they're having a kid who's 21 years like older than their other kid.
No, it's really stupid. I've hated it since the theater. Canonically from the comics, Havoc is Scott's brother. That's a thing from the comics.
Yeah.
Just the way you properly justify that is that the Summers are like the Duggars or whatever, and they have like 8 kids.
Yeah.
And Scott's the baby.
No, they just took it like a 21-year gap. They're just like, hey, dude.
It's so dumb. And it doesn't help that, because this is a complaint that we've had throughout this entire miniseries, that these films in particular do not care about aging.
No, not at all.
There's technically... Here's the thing. They say that Dark Phoenix is like 9 years after this movie.
Yeah.
They never specifically say that in the movie, though, from what I remember. And you could just make an argument that Dark Phoenix is like 3 years later, because they give up on the period piece thing to begin with. There's just no
there's no 90s shit in
there's like no modern technology in Dark Phoenix, but it's not like it's not to the level of detail that like First Class.
No,
has.
Cyclops isn't wearing like Janko jeans.
No.
And like watching Clerks.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been so sick if there was a Clerks joke in X-Men Dark Phoenix.
You keep hounding the Clerks thing. I just watched
that's just 90s to me.
Which is so funny, because you haven't even seen Clerks.
No. You know my Batman thing, I was like, have it takes my 90s, have Robin love Clerks.
Yeah, you said that in the First Class episode. I just rewatched it.
Oh, did I really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
No, it's so funny to me, because here's the thing. You are correct. Like, Clerks is the epitome of, like, a Gen X thing, but you haven't even watched it.
No, I haven't. I've seen 30 seconds of Clerks.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah. But anyway, that's my math. That's Connor's math corner out of the way.
Okay, so the math aside, what are other thoughts on this movie as a whole?
Do you just want to start with positives?
I want an overview. I want
overview?
Like, general consensus on X-Men Apocalypse.
I like the first 30 minutes a lot. I think everything up until like Apocalypse being freed, I think is incredibly solid. And then the movie kind of dips for me from there.
See, now I'm having a hard time remembering what order of the first half is. Yeah, no, we are introduced because Alex joins Charles to meet up with Moira.
Yeah.
I think I would agree with you from a story standpoint. There's a couple things, particularly in performances and writing, that are so bad. Okay, let's get it out of the way. Ty Sheridan is awful.
He's okay. Here's the thing. He's okay.
Here's the thing.
He never bugs me.
The writing of Scott in this movie is terrible. I'm on record. I do not like Scott Summers as a character.
Yeah.
That's besides the point. The dialogue that they give him is atrocious. I love Mud. Mud is one of my favorite movies of the last decade. Ty Sheridan is amazing in Mud. It's also his second ever performance, and he's being directed by Jeff Nichols. When you have an actor that young, you can credit half their performance to a really good director. Every single thing I've seen Ty Sheridan in since, he is a black hole of charisma. These two X-Men movies, Ready Player One.
See, I think I would dislike him more if we didn't already have the precedent of Marsden. Because Marsden's a charismatic dude. He just does nothing in those movies.
Yeah.
I even wrote a note here in talking points. I can definitely see Ty Sheridan as a young Marsden is one of my talking points. I buy him as young Marsden 100%.
They look nothing alike.
When he has the glasses on, I
Sheridan
see him as young Marsden.
Has the most square head I have ever seen in my
I
entire
don't
life.
disagree with you. I'm just saying, I think he's such a fucking stick in the mud, like Marsden was, like the character is.
Yeah.
I can see, here's the thing, there's some, we talked about, I can't see this young person becoming this older person. I can see this Ty Sheridan Cyclops becoming James Marsden.
I disagree slightly. I read an interview with Kinberg about this movie, and he really focused on Scott, Jean, and Storm, which is interesting because Storm has almost nothing to do in this movie.
Nothing.
Which is weird. I think that's the ultimate credit to Alexandra Shipp, because when I left this movie, I'm like, who plays Storm? She was really good. And then I rewatched this and she's not in this movie. But those were the ones he really latched on to because, to his argument, they're the most different compared to their future selves. Which, if you really want to dig for it, sure. He was talking about that Scott has yet to become the leader that he will become, which is why he's a shithead and just keeps poking at shit. But as someone who doesn't like Scott, it's just Scott, calm the fuck down. Nobody wants you around.
Exactly, yeah.
God, I don't need... Okay, so I will say this. When I left X-Men the theater, my first time watching X-Men Apocalypse, and this is my first time watching the film since, I had the note that I hear she's great on Game of Thrones. I've only seen a handful of episodes of Game of Thrones, and none of them were... Is she Arya?
No, she's Sansa.
Sansa. I saw no Sansa-centric episodes, ever. And my biggest note is that Sophie Turner is atrocious in this movie. Rewatching the film, she's not atrocious.
No.
I think it comes down to two things. A, she's suppressing her accent. That's really hard to do, and by looking at her IMDb, I think that's the first time she's ever had to do an American accent.
I think so, yeah.
Because her career up to that point, Game of Thrones was her first thing, and she didn't do much stuff outside of it. So a lot of it is that, and a lot of it is the dialogue they give her is just terrible. Mm-hmm. She has little moments where I think she's really good, and I've yet to rewatch Dark Phoenix, but I stand by that she's much better in that movie. So I think a lot of it is just she was given better material, and she's more used to doing the accent. She's more used to this type of production, etc., etc., etc. Jennifer Lawrence is also better than I remember her being.
Oh, see, my note is Jennifer Lawrence is rough in all capital letters.
No. There are moments where you can tell that she does not give a shit.
No.
I think her stuff in East Berlin is actually really good.
Oh, I love this stuff in East Berlin.
In general, I like that stuff too, but I think her particularly is actually quite good because I think it's just it's more similar to what she had to do in First Class. She has to speak German and shit. There's actual things for her to do Whereas the rest of the movie, she's like pontificating on X-Pedition and like, this is why it matters to be an X-Man and whatever. And I think that's where she really doesn't give a fuck. So I think she's really engaged in the first half, and then it kind of goes sour. It's also just really hard because, again, these characters are now supposed to be 20 years old, 20 years older. And in real life,
they're all in their 40s.
And in real life, they're all in like their late 20s, except for Fassbender.
Yeah.
Fassbender, I think, was actually playing younger in First Class, and he's now like reached his own age.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. So I think out of all of them, she it's very apparent that she's like, I can't pass being someone who's supposed to be 20 years older, despite the fact that like in the David O. Russell movies, it's what she's always doing.
Yeah.
Like in American Hustle, she's not supposed to be 40, but I think she's supposed to be someone.
No, Rosalind's supposed to be older. Yeah.
And Joy, I honestly don't know how old Joy is supposed to be.
I think she was in her 30s, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Which
we're wrong about
Jennifer
that.
Lawrence,
sure
like now, I think is 29.
Yes.
Actually, she might be 30 now.
Let me do some quick Googling.
But
since we're on
when
a laptop
Apocalypse
set
is
up
coming
here.
out, she was still in her 20s, I believe.
She's 29 now.
She's 29 now? Oh, Jesus, fuck.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think she has a hard time with that. And that's not her fault. That really comes with the material. Again, I think... Well, the problem with Mystique is that... Excuse me. She can always change her form. So, it would be easier if they actually put age makeup on her. But at the same time, Mystique in real life probably would show her... Portray herself as, like, someone in their late 20s. Even if she was...
And Mystique, we established in the comics, ages slower anyway.
Yeah. But here's the thing. She can take any form. So, if she wanted to show herself older... she could.
I don't know. Well, the thing is, no tea, no shade to Miss Lawrence, but if Mystique would never make herself look like a human anyway, she'd be constantly blue.
Yeah. They talk around it a lot.
Yes.
And I think it mostly works. It's just very unfortunate because it's just a cause for more exposition.
Yeah. No, I wrote in my talking points... It's more that Jennifer Lawrence not wanting to be blue completely counteracts with Mystique as a character.
But here's the thing, Mystique... I forgot how Mystique-centric this is, particularly in the second half.
Yeah.
But the problem is, it doesn't help Jennifer Lawrence at all, because it's mostly people talking about Mystique. It's not Mystique actually doing things. I feel like the arc that she has at the end... This movie's arc is essentially her accepting her blue form.
Yeah.
It's kind of ham-fisted and it doesn't totally work. It's
ham-fisted because she never had a problem with her blue form before this. We never see her develop the problem with the blue form.
No. She had a problem with the blue form in...
Oh, it's true. In First Class. Yeah, and then by Future Past, she's like mutant and proud. And then once she becomes a hero... She's no longer mutant and proud.
But no, in First Class, it's more about the political agenda.
Yeah.
She's putting her own personal image issues aside for the political agenda. And now that she's a fugitive, essentially, she is becoming more introspective. I think that works on a beat-by-beat level. Within the actual minutiae of the movie, I think it gets kind of lost. I think it's sort of like... It's a lot of telling and not a lot of showing.
Yeah.
I think that arc overall works. And I think the solution that they figure out by the end of the movie of just, she's wearing a suit, so fucking we only need to do her hands
her
and
head,
her face. Because by all accounts, Lawrence's main problem was the full body.
Yeah.
Which is why it's only one scene that she goes full body, right?
Yes. Well, there's a couple... Yeah, it's one scene a couple times. Because when she's on the lawn, when the power thing goes off, she turns blue, and then she's blue for like a half a second in the cage.
That's right. Yeah. Did you also notice that all of Hank's dialogue is atrocious in this movie?
Yeah.
They give Nicholas Hoult absolutely nothing to work with.
No.
absolutely nothing to work with. And it's a shame.
No, I think this is one of the weaker scripts in the new trilogy.
I would have to rewatch Dark Phoenix. I think it's the weakest script.
Yeah.
I think it has really great moments. I think overall there's a lot.
Yeah.
I think part of it was slightly... Alright, we might as well go into the production troubles. So, Bryan Singer left filming at one point. For 10 days. He claims it was for a thyroid issue. But knowing what we know now about Bryan Singer, it's... God knows what it could have been. So Kinberg took over shooting. And Kinberg is the sole credited writer. There's 4 people that have story credit, Bryan Singer being one. Michael Dougherty and his of Trick or Treat and Godzilla King of the Monsters and his writing partner. They're the other ones with story credit, which I didn't remember at all. I found that to be very interesting. But Kinberg is the only proper screenwriter. And I have a theory that at one point Bryan Singer was not allowed in the editing room. Did you notice that the editing, particularly in scenes with dialogue with a lot of characters, was very choppy?
Yeah.
So this movie was edited by John Ottoman, Bryan Singer's go-to editor, Academy Award winner for Bohemian Rhapsody, which he had to edit by himself because Bryan Singer was not allowed in the editing room by Fox, and because of DGA rules, Dexter Fletcher wasn't allowed. And this movie, in scenes with dialogues, a lot of characters, particularly most of the apocalypse scenes, has a very similar editing issue that Bohemian Rhapsody has, where it's just cutting between different people, and it doesn't really follow the 180 rule. And I discovered this last night. John Ottoman has only edited like 13 things, and it's literally everything that Bryan Singer has directed. They're like childhood friends apparently. And the one movie that he directed, which is a sequel to a horror movie from the 90s called Urban Legend. He directed Urban Legend 2.
He did Urban Legend 2?
He did Urban Legend 2, the final cut. He directed and edited it. And he's mainly a composer. He does all the scores for the Bryan Singer X-Men movies and Superman Returns and like a bunch of horror movies.
That's interesting.
So we talk in Last Stand. I mentioned John Ottoman because I was talking about how each of the original trilogy has a different composer. I did not realize it was the same guy who edits all of Bryan Singer's movies. So he's also like a co-producer on this. Like he's very involved in Bryan Singer's company. I did not realize that he wore that many hats.
That's interesting.
John Ottoman's had a very interesting career. It's almost entirely tied to Bryan Singer.
Which is not great.
No, not at all. So God knows what he knew and what he didn't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my theory because it's not. None of the other Bryan Singer X-Men movies have that problem, and they were all also edited by John Ottoman, and I think it was just a thing where he was left alone, and he just had to make the best of what he has. Because the action scenes never have that issue. And I think it's because with action, Bryan Singer plans his shots out so specifically that it's sort of, there's no other way to cut it.
Yeah.
There are a couple things in the final fight where we cut back to like Nightcrawler fighting Angel. I'm like, how the fuck did they get up there? Like things.
I know.
It's just there's so many different things going on. So who knows if like a snippet got lost somewhere along the way? Or,
yeah.
So yeah, that's my theory.
It's a good theory.
Yeah. Which is why I think they did not ask Bryan Singer back for Dark Phoenix.
No.
And they specifically wanted to give him a quote-unquote smaller movie.
Yeah.
I also think it's the reason why, because watching interviews with the cast, they were all like, we really pushed Fox to hire Simon for Dark Phoenix. Mm-hmm. They all really liked working with Simon Kinberg. which that could be PR nonsense, but you can kind of tell in the intonations of their voice like they really mean it.
Yeah. I think a big part might have been they didn't like working with Brian so much. Or like, we can get somebody else in here. Let's get somebody else in here.
I think they found Simon more reliable, and I think actors appreciate working with a writer-director.
Mm-hmm.
Which, Simon Kinberg has at least co-written every X-Men movie since Last Stand, with the exception of First Class.
Mm-hmm.
And this one he wrote entirely by himself. Of course, other people involved with the stories, but the script is his. And then in Dark Phoenix, it's him. Obviously, with Hollywood scripts, there's a million people that get involved with script, but he's the primary writer. And I think actors really feel comforted when they have a director they know is passionate about the project. One of the easiest way that they get passionate about a project is if it's a script they wrote.
Yeah.
So I think that's really interesting. That's why we were talking about this earlier. I am excited to watch Logan, but I almost wish that we could jump straight to Dark Phoenix because I want to see how it compares to this movie.
Yeah. No. Do you want to hear something funny I realized?
Go for it.
Apocalypse is a really lit hairstylist. He makes Xavier bald. He gives Storm her white hair, and he also gives Angel a mohawk.
Yeah. Yeah. Angel and Storm's hair is a little too similar for my money.
Yeah. I just thought that was really funny.
Yeah. I've kind of dominated the conversation for the past 15 minutes or so. Is there anything that you want to go into?
I mean...
You have notes.
I have notes. I mean, we can just go through my likes.
Yeah, let's just go through
these
your
are
likes.
These are very minimal things.
Let's go through
the Four Horsemen in the beginning, I love how their powers are used.
I think the Four Horsemen are really cool, and they're kind of wasted at the end.
Oh, completely. But no, the opening Four Horsemen, the guy who screams and turns the guy into like a gooey skeleton.
Oh, we want to start with Egypt? I think the Egypt stuff is cool.
No, I love the Egypt stuff. Yeah. The early Four Horsemen.
Yeah, the early Four Horsemen.
I think their powers are rad as hell. That guy, they turn people to mush. They turn that guy into a pretzel.
They turn a guy into a box. And
box, yeah. That part's rad. Yeah, I like those. I like how the woman is, the telepath is, protecting him as they're falling. Even after she falls, her power is still, dwindling from her fingers. And that's really cool.
Yeah.
This is another thing. I like how nasty this movie is.
It's really gnarly.
There's, people get decapitated. Angel's burnt wing is disgusting.
They fucked up Quicksilver's leg.
Yeah. When Angel's getting the metal wings, you see, his ribs come out of his back. It's just, it's really gross. Yeah. And I kind of appreciated, the nastiness of it.
Yeah.
Transitioning to something that's sweet as hell. Magneto and his daughter is amazing.
All the stuff in
I forget her name.
It's
I forget her name, but the daughter is Nina.
They didn't want to do Wanda for some reason.
Well, because we established that Quicksilver's sister is already Wanda. There's a one throwaway line where someone calls her Wanda.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's probably why they wasted it.
Yeah. But no, she's great. I like that her power. She can talk to animals.
I also like that.
That's really sweet.
I like that she's not Scarlet Witch, but I like
that she's not Scarlet Witch.
I also like that it's really subtle, because when we first see her, she's talking to a deer.
Yeah.
But there's no.
They never explicitly say she has powers.
No.
Obviously, with her being Magneto's daughter, when I see her talking to a deer, I'm like, oh, she can talk to animals.
Yeah. But
they never explicitly tell you.
There, and then...
She's not like this, and the deer is like... Whoa.
It's just applied enough that when she does summon...
the birds, you're like, okay, that's her thing.
Yeah. It's a nice confirmation. Yeah. Rather than they really hammering this point home.
Yeah. Him talking to her about the Holocaust and his parents...
Yeah, that seems awesome.
It's so fucking... And he gives her the locket. And I like how, after they're both killed, he uses his parents to take the people that took away his daughter and wife.
Yeah.
I think that's rad as hell.
I'm forgetting a lot of the dialogue,
Michael
but, when he said...
Yeah.
I always have them in here and you have them there, and he opens up the locket and stuff.
Yeah. Or, they say, they were taken from me. It's like, is someone going to take you? And he says, no one's going to take me.
He says
and
never.
Then you have
he says never.
Never. He says never. And the thing where, obviously, he gets taken, the next day.
Yeah.
Or, attempted to.
Yeah.
Also, I just wrote, in my likes, Michael Fassbender is fucking great. Because he is.
He's kind of wasted in the second half. But...
Yeah.
When I left the theater, I'm like, this is the best Magneto has ever been.
Yeah. No, when I wrote that note, it was right after he, like, looks at, like, God and screams, like, is this what you want from me?
Yeah.
Dude, it got tears in my eyes.
No, I stand by that. You can really tell that Michael Fassbender loves playing this character.
Yeah.
He takes this character just as seriously as any, like, quote-unquote real parts. And I've seen him say in interviews, like, I would play Magneto as long as they want me to.
No, he's great.
And I honestly believe him because it's a really good part, and I think he knows it. And I feel like he doesn't feel the burden or the shame of, like, I'm in a comic book movie the way that other actors are.
Mm-hmm. The way Jennifer Lawrence became.
Yeah. I think it helps that he, compared to a lot of comic book actors, is actually given a really in-depth, powerful character.
Yeah. Then my next note is I really dig Angel's metal wings, even though they make absolutely no sense.
Yeah, they're cool.
They're ridiculously cool.
I like his dove wings as well. I think the
I like
way
his wings too.
he flies around, and what's the name of that actor?
Oh, that's Ben Hardy.
What has he been in before or since? I don't think I've seen him in anything
Bohemian Rhapsody since.
Oh, is he Brian May?
No, well, I don't know. He's the drummer, whoever the drummer is.
Okay.
Let me look up his IMDb
I
as
know
we're talking here.
fucking Timmy from Jurassic Park is one of them as well.
Timmy?
The kid from Jurassic Park is one of the members of Queen in Bohemian Rhapsody. Joseph Mazzola or something.
Oh, yes. He's Brian May is the guy with the long hair, was on bass, right?
Yeah, that's
I should. He's Roger. Roger's his name. No, Roger's the drummer who Ben Hardy plays.
Yeah.
He hasn't done. This was his first movie.
Really?
Yeah.
He's pretty good. They give Angel nothing to do.
Nothing. Yeah.
He's really kind of wasted in that. It also sucks that he dies. He doesn't need to die.
Yeah, his death is so anticlimactic too.
He dies, and they, like, knock out Nightcrawler. It's just, you can tell they had too many people, and they...
Yeah.
At a certain point...
Or how Psylocke gets knocked out.
Yeah. I don't mind how Psylocke gets knocked out. Because Psylocke isn't a character. In this movie. And they really hyped up Olivia Munn when it was coming out.
They did.
And she's given nothing in this movie. Absolutely nothing.
No.
I think her physicality is great.
Yeah.
She's
a cool Psylocke physically. It's just she's given nothing to do.
Well, not just physical. She did a lot of the action herself. Obviously, there's stunt people, but a lot of the sword fighting and the whip, it's her. Like, she did months of training to prepare for it, and I think she looks really good in action. But they only use her as muscle.
Yeah.
Which, granted, in the comics, like, Psylocke her main thing is she's a great fighter.
Yeah.
And she has her fucking plasma thing. But in a movie that's this crowded with characters, she really gets lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. And this isn't in my likes, but I do like it. I think Caliban, this is pretty cool.
He's fine.
I like Caliban. I think he's funny. I think he's charming.
I prefer Stephen Merchant's version.
Yeah.
I think Stephen Merchant's portrayal is basically Stephen Merchant.
Yeah.
But I still think that version of the character is more interesting than, you know.
You don't like Smuggler Caliban?
No,
Fake ID Caliban?
I love it. It's just I've seen that type of character in a million movies. And
yeah. I think the design of him is cool. I like his contact lenses.
I like that he refers to himself in the third person.
Yeah. My next note, Logan in the classic Weapon X gear, like the headpiece.
It's goofy.
I think that's just really cool. It's really cool. It's goofy. And I like his actual rampage through Alkali Lake.
That seems really exceptionally directed. No, it's a weird moment that it creeped me out a lot more this time than it did when I saw in the theater. When Jean...
Him and Jean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because in this she's supposed to be 17, and you know later that this is going to be the love of Logan's life. And here's the thing, Logan was already hundreds of years old, and she's 30.
Yeah.
But her being this, it just... So,
See, what I can get from that is, because we've talked about previous episodes, I don't buy the Jean and Logan relationship.
Well, it's
as
not a
creepy
relationship.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
as crazy as just like that and weird that scene is, I can kind of buy that as like planting the seed of relationship in the future. That's why Logan is attached to her, is because of that moment.
I got the same reading as well.
Which that like here's the, it makes the air quote relationship make more sense. It is a really weird moment.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Also, go back to like the script in this. This movie tries to be clever too much.
Yeah. And
it just takes away. Like Cyclops being is like, I hope it's the last time we see that guy.
Yeah, Cyclops.
Or Jean saying that, or like Jean saying the third one's always the worst.
Yeah. Here's the thing: the mall scene was supposed to be longer.
It was.
I think they should have kept it in. It probably would have grounded to a halt, especially because at that point, like, a lot is happening because Apocalypse is coming, this and the other thing. But either you cut all the mall stuff or you just put a little bit more back in.
Yeah. I will say, going back to Cyclops on the script, I hope we can both agree on this. The best Cyclops on the entire thing is that the only American thing about this place that used to be British.
Yeah.
That's the best line in, like, probably the movie.
Yeah. No, I agree. Lana Condor as Jubilee.
Completely fucking wasted.
They should have kept her around. They should. Lana Condor is awesome. She to all the boys movies are not great.
No, but she's amazing in them.
She's really good in them. She's just a charming presence. I have a theory because she's like our age.
Yeah,
she might be like
roughly
a year older than us. I think when this movie was being made, she was still a minor.
Yeah,
so,
and they just didn't want to work around her, like school and stuff.
They didn't want to work around all that stuff. Would be my
guess. We don't need more people in that final battle.
No.
I would have loved to see Jubilee in that final battle.
I would have loved to see Jubilee's powers at all.
Period,
literally at all. We have had 2 Jubilees. We've never seen her powers. And here's the thing. In the comics, Jubilee kind of sucks. But Lana Condor just, like, exudes, like, enthusiasm and charm. Yeah. So she would have made it work. I think she's adorable in this. I love her hair. I love the jacket.
Yeah, she's cool.
I think, like, this is the best possible version of Jubilee you could have had, and it's just utterly wasted.
Because she's not in Dark Phoenix at all, right?
No, she's
like,
not.
we don't even see her.
I think she was making... Because those to all the boys movies were made back to back.
Yeah, she's probably making all the boys.
Yeah.
Because, here
and Jubilee's barely in this.
Yeah. We see in... spoiler for Dark Phoenix for you kids, but we get Dazzler in that.
Yeah.
It would have been probably better to have that just be Jubilee and have her be doing fireworks.
It would have. They've been teasing Dazzler for a long time, though.
They have. Like, I remember when Gaga wanted to do it. Or the rumor was they wanted Gaga for it or something like that.
The rumor was they wanted Taylor Swift.
Oh, that's right.
That was the rumor.
That'd have been wild.
No, and there was a point where... Because in the deleted scene... of more mall stuff, there's a scene where they go to a record store and they're holding an album cover, and the album cover is Dazzler, and the rumor even was that Taylor Swift didn't agree to be in the movie herself because of scheduling, but she would give permission for them to Photoshop her in as Dazzler. And then that never came of anything. What's really funny though is that at Comic-Con that year, you could pre-order the Blu-ray at Comic-Con, and the thing you would get as a keepsake, because the Blu-ray came out in, like, September, is that you would get the fake album cover of Dazzler.
That's cool.
Yeah. So you can probably find those on eBay.
That's another thing, is obviously I don't want to dive too deep into this movie. Are people just cool with Nightcrawler being at the mall? Is there no, like, xenophobia with, like, this blue guy just, like, being at the mall?
I watched those deleted scenes when this Blu-ray came out. I have not watched them since. People know that mutants exist, at least.
Yeah. But are they still, like, cool with them?
No. Well, no. Here's the thing. There might have been a scene where people were, like, being shitty to Nightcrawler, and then Jean, like...
Yeah.
Or they might have done the evolution thing, where Jean just made everyone think that...
Maybe,
it's normal.
Yeah. Because he's just, I support Nightcrawler, do what you want, my guy.
Yeah, Kurt's a king.
But he's just, like, walking around in his Michael Jackson jacket, having a care in the world.
Yeah.
Which, I do love Nightcrawler in this, too. I think Cody Smith-McPhee, like, and I can see him becoming Alan Cumming.
Yeah, I feel like the transition is probably the cleanest between those two.
Yeah.
I think Cody Smith-McPhee kind of has a similar weird energy to Alan Cumming.
Yeah.
I told you I've met Cody Smith McPhee in real life, right?
You have, yeah.
Very nice. Very nice guy. Very big on eye contact, which I appreciated.
He seems to be a great guy.
Yeah. Weird Instagram. You ever seen his Instagram?
I have not.
He's
I'm sure it's fucking wild.
He's really into both cars and conspiracy theories. He's a weird guy.
Great. Have you seen Dolomite Is My Name? Have you seen that?
Yeah, of course. He's great in that.
He's in that, yeah.
He's great in that.
He's the film student.
Yeah. Who's the son of, like, a legendary fucking... In real life, the guy who shot Dolomite is, like, the son... Oh, God. This is an ultimate tangent. I'm gonna have to fucking keep talking, because I'm gonna look this up.
Okay, well, we'll go down to dislikes now, because we're in dislikes. I don't like the animated opening credit sequence. Like, of it going through history.
Sequence is awesome.
I don't know, man. It's kind of lame to me.
I think it's great. I really appreciate that right after 20th Century Fox is the Nazi Eagle. And then right after Marvel Entertainment is
Money?
No, is fucking the Hammer and Sickle.
Oh. That's right.
I feel like I might be reading too into it. But I'm pretty sure that was entirely intentional.
They're not huge fans of the MCU?
No, I think it was the animators' fuck you to the corporate.
Yeah. No, we'll talk about the MCU and Dark Phoenix,
which is my favorite thing.
Yeah. And then I wrote Jennifer Lawrence is rough. Okay, I like the scene with Wolverine. Jean's build up to it is so garbage.
Oh, there's some monster something.
There's an animal in there. Yeah. They took something from him, something you can never get back.
Yeah.
Because you know it's Wolverine if you know the comics.
You show a cell and everyone knows it's Wolverine.
Yeah. I like how also they're just keeping him in the generator room.
Yeah.
And the big thing is, as much as I love the stuff, there is no reason to include Magneto as Quicksilver's dad in this. It is awkward and it goes nowhere.
They should have just gone all in.
They should have gone all in, or just had it been in Days of Future Past, where my mom knew a guy that could do that. That's all you need.
Okay, I found who Jody Smith McPhee is playing in Dolomite Is My Name. He is playing Nicholas Joseph von Stromberg, who is in real life the son of Austrian director Joseph von Stromberg, who directed The Blue Angel and Shanghai Express, and was one of the many German filmmakers that left Germany when the Nazis rose to power and started making films in America. A bit of film trivia for those 5 minutes after we were talking about it.
Yeah. Some more film trivia. You know that post-credit scene? Did you watch it?
I didn't. I've never seen the post-credit scenes. What is the post-credit scene?
The post-credit scene is back at Alkali Lake, and there's these like guys in suits like sweeping, like vacuuming up the bullets, and they take a Wolverine DNA sample, and the suitcase says Essex Corp.
Oh, okay.
So it's setting up Mr. Sinister, which according to some recent people talking would have been the villain in Gambit.
Oh, that's when they were still trying to make Gambit with
Yeah, so this would be like a setup for Gambit, because Gambit was supposed to take place in the 90s as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah.
I remember them setting up Apocalypse at the end credits of at the end credits of Days of Future Past.
You see young Apocalypse lifting the pyramids.
After 2014, I stopped saying after the credits for anything that wasn't an MCU movie. It just wasn't worth it, especially because the end credits... Do you remember the end credit scene for Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Wasn't it just a clip of Days of Future Past?
Yeah.
No, that was... Wasn't there also the one where it's the guy walking through the thing and you see, like, Doc Ock's legs and Vulture's wings?
So, Amazing Spider-Man 2 ends. Spider-Man is swinging the manhole at Rhino.
Yeah.
It's the first block of credits, like, all the main producers and Amazing Spider-Man 2. Then it's set up for Sinister Six. And then real rolling credits start. And then halfway through the rolling credits, it like glitches, and then the fucking X-Vault door closes and opens, and then it's a clip from Days of Future Past, and then the vault door closes again, and then the credits just continue. It's the weirdest thing in the world. I don't believe it's on the Blu-ray. I've checked.
That's cool as hell, though. I wish I could have... I didn't see Amazing Spider-Man 2 in theater.
I saw it twice opening weekend, like literally within 23 hours of each other.
Yeah. We talked about this very, very, very briefly. We should do a Spider-Man one of these. That'd be interesting.
We've talked about it. I was actually thinking about this today because I do want to continue with stuff like this. This might get cut out. I do want to continue with stuff like this. I want to take a break from comic book films.
Just really quick.
Are there any other like characters specifically that you want to talk? I want to talk.
Well, I was gonna say we get 2 repeat X-Men. We get Blob. This is the new Blob.
Barely in it.
Don't want to talk about it. Yeah. And then we get this angel is not Ben Foster Angel because he's born 20 years too soon.
Yeah. Also is probably
and also dies.
And also probably not the rich kid version of Wayne Worthington III.
No, yeah, because all we know is him like in that barn listening to heavy metal music.
We know he's American.
He gets metal wings. Yeah.
He totally could be like a shitty trust fund kid, just fucking around and like.
I get that impression.
He was supposed to be studying abroad and has just has just gone off on these side adventures.
Yeah.
Again,
you want to talk about Moira?
There's more that could have been done with Angel.
Oh, 1,000 times.
Specifically in a sequel, especially if you're going to have Storm be a quote-unquote bad guy in this one and then be on the team in the next one. Moira is wasted in this.
Yeah.
They give Rosebud nothing to do. She waits in the car while the mutants fight. She's wasted in this. More complaints about they don't age anyone. We talked about this in the First Class episode, but like a couple crow's feet and like one strand of gray hair. Which, if you look at Rosebud now from the beginning of her career, which was almost 20 years ago, she hasn't aged to begin with either.
No, she hasn't.
I think in 20 years from now, Rosebud will probably look the same.
No.
Rosebud's a great actress, and she's wasted in this.
I watched Like a Boss recently for outside reasons. And she's great in that too, and she looks great.
I wanted to see that movie. I thought she seemed fun. I like her when she does comedies. I like her when she does drama. Yeah. She's one of the most versatile actresses working today. Mm-hmm. She's the best, and she's wasted in this. Especially because she's so good in First Class. I think it doesn't help that Kinberg or Singer were super involved with First Class. So they're not as invested in that character, and she's not in Days of Future Past.
They try to force her and Charles' relationship, and it just doesn't really work for me.
Doesn't work. It's fun because I think that her first scene in Cairo is pretty fun. Where she's undercover and then she's looking after the cult. Mm-hmm. Because she actually does shit, and then the rest of the movie she's just an exposition machine. Are there any characters that we haven't touched on? I only have like a couple minor...
Not really. I think we pretty much talked to everybody.
A couple minor things. I think me splitting up this film into 2 halves does not work in its favor. I really wonder what my reaction would be if I had watched it in one sitting again. Which I intend to for the other ones. It's just with work this week. This was the only way I could watch it. This movie is a mess. I did not like it as much the second time.
No, me either.
The very high highs that this film has, which it does, did not make up for the lows. I think it's clunky and it doesn't hit a lot of the beats it's trying to properly. We didn't talk about Oscar Isaac at all.
No, we didn't. He's fine.
I like him in this movie.
I think he is fine at the best.
He hated making this movie. The makeup was awful. Mm-hmm. Oscar Isaac notoriously does not have time for bullshit. He calls people out, and I think he had to bite his tongue with Bryan Singer. Is my theory. I have no factual evidence from it, but I have a feeling. Did not like making this movie. Was a huge X-Men fan growing up. Was really disappointed by the experience. I think it doesn't help that he was in the midst of making Star Wars. So he was going from like big production to big production when he was used to indies. I think he's really campy and really fun. I think Apocalypse doesn't really work as a villain. But those are script reasons. And also, we have not had a villain like this before in an X-Men movie.
No, we haven't.
This movie, in terms of tone, is much more like every other comic
isn't it
movie.
The first time... Well, no, the new trilogy has new villains, yeah. That's true, yeah.
Kevin Bacon was the only time the only other real comparison I could think of this. Because all the other movies...
Trask wasn't like a super villain.
No, all the other ones, it's either mutants versus humans or mutants versus mutants.
Yeah.
This, and in First Class, I think it works better because First Class is kind of a riff on the Bond franchise.
Yeah.
And Kevin Bacon is basically a superpowered Bond villain. It fits within the tone. He's another mutant. It works within it's slightly outside of the strengths, slightly outside of what was established in the previous films, but fits within the tone of the movie. Whereas this one, especially comparing it to all the ones predecessors, it really feels like what every other comic book movie is doing.
Yeah.
Which is the X-Men are usually more individual. They're kind of doing their own thing. I think when his performance is really campy, is when it's at its best.
Yeah.
Another thing, I hate the flight suits.
I think they're fine.
They're the worst
I think they're cool.
They're the worst costumes. I like the Four Horsemen's costumes for the most part.
Yeah.
I think Psylocke just looks like Psylocke.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the most literal comic to screen adaptations I've ever seen of a superhero outfit, which I appreciate. I like Storm's. Don't love Angel's. Like the Metal Wings. I don't like his suit. I don't like Magneto's suit that much. Weirdly, I think he looks better without the helmet.
Yeah, I agree on
I don't
that
love
too.
his shoulder pads. But at the end, when they're in the danger room, their costumes, with the exception of Quicksilver's, fucking rock.
Yeah.
It's so, Jeans is not great either, but Scott and Storm's and Mystique's and Nightcrawler's suits are so picture perfect to the comics, with, some, adjustments to make it work for a movie. They fucking rock, and I really like the Dark Phoenix suits, but I really wish they stuck with them. Because it's the first time we're getting, proper X-Men suits.
And the more thing is, they have the suits, too. Why didn't they just use them?
I don't know. I like the Dark Phoenix suits.
Yeah.
But it stinks that we don't get to see more of those suits. Because they're great. Like, Scott's, especially. And this is coming from the guy who hates Cyclops. I got so excited when I saw the strap and his little thing.
Yeah.
Ugh.
They're great.
It's a waste. Do we have any... This is now our longest episode.
It is?
Yeah,
wow.
we're at 55. Wow. Do you have anything left to say? We're going to have to cut some of it, so it might not be.
Yeah, I'm probably closer to 50 when it's all said and done. Overall, I liked it less second time around. I also haven't seen it since the theater.
Yeah.
I like Nightcrawler, but I've always loved Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
I never, hated Jean. I still think she's fine, the first time around.
I stand by she's not a character.
Yeah. I definitely liked Mystique less this time. It's fine. I think I am going to take it down from a 3.5 to a 3. I think I'm going to knock it down.
I don't know if I could rate it in the way I viewed it. Definitely watch it in one sitting. It does not benefit from taking a break in the middle.
No.
So I'm just really curious where its place is going to be ranked once we're done with all of these.
Yeah.
So that's a question for a different time. Anything else you want to... I think I covered pretty much everything I want to talk about.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Logan.
I'm cautiously optimistic about Logan. I don't love Logan the way that other people do. I have not seen it since the theater. We're watching Logan Noir, right? I am.
Yeah, that was the plan, yeah.
I'm going to.
Oh, this is unrelated. But just in case we do a Mad Max one of these. Fury Road, hot take, better in the Blood and Chrome version.
You're incorrect.
Hot take. I know it's a hot take.
Everyone's allowed to
I know it's a hot take. I know it's a hot take.
Simply incorrect.
Dude, I'll tell you what. It slaps.
You also said that Citizen Kane is trash. I have video evidence.
Okay, yeah.
When
did I say... Oh, did I say that in one of these videos? Did I say Citizen Kane?
First Class.
Yeah, it's...
We went on a 2-minute Citizen Kane tangent.
It's a bad movie. I'm sorry, Chief.
Citizen Kane's a good movie. Caliban says so. Yeah. Magneto.
Magneto.
I don't want to... He's barely taped to my TV, so I don't want to bobble him too much. Yeah. So until next time, when we talk about Logan, directed by James Mangold. goodbye, Bryan Singer. Welcome back, James Mangold.
Goodbye, Bryan Singer.
From the year of our Lord 2017. That's going to be a really interesting episode. I already know.
It's going to be a good episode.
It's going to be very interesting. All right.
Because neither of us like it too much. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Well, I just stand by the third act is not good.
Yeah.
With the exception of the last scene.
Yeah.
But again, I haven't seen it in 3 years. So,
yeah.
I can improve a lot. So with that, Connor, it's great seeing you again.
Great seeing you too, friend.
I miss you lots.
Miss you too.
You want to say our thing?
I thought you do the first part, I do the second part.
We are the future, Charles.
Not them.
They no longer matter.